Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm talking about the new Jurassic Park film, Jurassic World Dominion. This is the sixth and supposedly final film of the franchise. It is once again directed by Colin Trevorrow of the fourth Jurassic Park film, just titled Jurassic World. In this film, you guys, and just kind of a precursor going into this review, if you haven't seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, there's a significant thing that happens in that movie at the end of that film that I'm going to be talking about to make the plot synopsis make sense for this movie. But for the most part, this is a spoiler free review. But if you haven't seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, just let you know there is something I kind of have to spoil in that movie for this synopsis to make sense. So in this movie, though, you guys, like I said, you've been warned about the Fallen Kingdom thing. Dinosaurs are roaming free based off the events of that movie. There was an auction that went wrong, and the dinosaurs are roaming free all over Earth. There is no such thing as just a contained Jurassic Park anymore. They are roaming the Earth. They're all over the place. They're in every country. And this has been going on for a couple years now, ever since the events of the last movie. And at this point in time, the Earth ecosystem is starting to go bad. People are obviously trying to survive the whole dinosaur situation from the last movie. They're trying to figure out how to kind of coexist with the dinosaurs and things like that. But basically, the real issue that's happening is the ecosystem is going bad. There is these mutant locusts that are going around and getting rid of the crops, getting rid of our fresh produce. They're basically eating away at the earth if not stopped. And so basically, throughout the course of this film, Laura Dern's character, Ellie Sadler from the first film, also who was in the third film too, basically she gets recruited for this task of trying to figure out how to stop the locusts and what could be done so that way the ecosystem doesn't go bad based off these animals. And so over the course of this film, other paleontologists get recruited, like Sam Neill's Alan Grant and Jeff Goldblum's Ian Malcolm from the first two films, as well as some other scientists. We get to see what Owen Grady is up to since the events of the last film, who's played by Chris Pratt. And so over the course of this film, they got to figure out how to stop this, how to get the Earth's ecosystem somewhat back on track, how to coexist with the dinosaurs, and this new company, Biosyn, that is kind of responsible for these locusts. How do they play a role in it? How can they be stopped? And how can we make sure that they don't do something like this again so that the Earth's ecosystem once again doesn't try to go bad again? But overall, guys, I thought Jurassic World Dominion was an okay film. My thing with the Jurassic Park franchise is I love the first film. Lost World is good, but not great. I actually really like Jurassic Park 3, surprisingly. I know a lot of people don't like that movie. Jurassic World I really like. I thought it kind of got the franchise back on track, brought the fun factor, brought it back to the park and things like that. But then we got to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I really did not like that movie. I really thought there was a lot of things about it that don't really say Jurassic Park to me, like contained thriller. I thought the Indoraptor creature thing was weird in it. There's just a lot of things about Fallen Kingdom that weren't my favorite. So I really haven't gone back to that film since it came out in theaters. So going into this film, it had a bad film on its record. How is the Jurassic Park franchise going to kind of get back on its feet again? And so this film tries to do a couple things with the franchise that I think both benefit it and don't help it at all. And the film's kind of a mixed bag as a result. There's things I really like about this film, but there's things about this film that I really am not a big fan of either. And I do think it is a significant jump forward from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But that being said, it's not much of a bar to defeat. And unfortunately, like Fallen Kingdom, this is probably one of the weaker Jurassic Park films of the franchise for me. Though I thought it was okay, though I enjoyed myself watching it, there's a lot of things about it that unfortunately are probably not going to hold up well over the next couple of years with it. So for my positives and negatives of this movie, it was great seeing those legacy characters back. They did get Sam Neill, they did get Laura Dern, and they got Jeff Goldblum to be in this movie. It was great seeing all three of them again. It was great to see a Jurassic Park film since the first film where all three of them are in the same Jurassic Park film together. Two of them were in Jurassic Park 3. Jeff Goldblum was in Lost World. But it hasn't been since the first one where all three of them are in the same Jurassic Park film together. And it was just great seeing them, collaborate and take on this mission together, take on the whole world of dinosaurs again. It was just so great seeing them again, and it was so great having a Jurassic Park film where once again we have the original characters back and they're doing what they do best. And for the most part, this is a fun film. It's a film where I never felt bored, and I gotta say too, for being 2.5 hours, it did not feel like that. It really is pretty fun. They really do things with this plot that are they try to make sure you're having fun and things like that. So for the most part, it's a film that's making sure you have fun, but there's things at cost that happen that kind of hurt the film as a result too. So fun movie, but go into this knowing that it's not a perfect film either. There's also some real world moments involving, uh, yeah. So I'm trying to. I was reading my notes off to the side there. There is some moments that deal with the real world dealing with dinosaurs, and when they do cover this, I think it's useful. I think it's helpful. I think it kind of provides the point that this film was trying to make all along. They unfortunately don't go this route for very long. They do kind of focus on the locust thing for the longest time. But when they do focus on, dinosaurs and humans trying to coexist, the real world problems that are existing, what are happening with the black market with the dinosaurs, and what are some situations where, families are trying to go on vacation and the T Rexes are parading the land and things like that. So there's small but useful times where it does depict kind of the real world issues of dinosaurs coexisting with humans. I really like these scenes. I kind of wish there was more of them. But when they do explore it, it is kind of the Jurassic World Dominion film I was hoping we were going to get. And for the most part, this film does wrap up the Jurassic Park saga really well. There's something that happens at the end where I was kind of like, okay, I think it's safe to say that the franchise is done right here. There's possibilities of what they could do if they really wanted to do a seventh film, or if they wanted to reboot the franchise like many years down the road. There's still possibilities of them doing that. But the way they wrap it up here, the way that they kind of resolve the whole ecosystem thing, um, the way it wraps up does say conclusion to me. It does say that this is the last one, that there really isn't anything further they could really do outside of this movie. So if they do wrap it up, they did their job. Didn't do an absolutely amazing job about it, but if this is the end, I think they kind of wrapped it up at a very safe spot in the timeline for the franchise. And for the most part, like I said, this is a better film than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Um, though that's not a high bar to reach. It is a better film. I think they got rid of the whole contained thriller thing. They also got rid of the whole, I know Jurassic World, the fourth film, did this too, of dinosaurs being used for the military. Thankfully, that's completely dropped at this point. I know a lot of people, including myself, really didn't like the whole idea of dinosaurs trying to be implemented into the military and things like that. So they do drop that subplot in this film, which I'm really happy about as well. They do try other genres here outside of contained thriller, but the way that they managed to avoid the mistakes of Fallen Kingdom, I think, was done successfully. So I will give the film credit for that. It did, for the most part, ignore the stuff that didn't work so well in Fallen Kingdom. For my negatives of this movie, though, this film is unfortunately all over the place. The tone is just one moment it's a spy thriller, then it's an adventure film, then it's finally a dinosaur film again. Then there's moments that are trying to be a comedy, then it's trying to be a drama, then it's trying to be a romance. It's just trying to bundle too many genres into the same story. And you could really tell. You could really tell that they were really pressed for what other directions they could take this franchise. I never really saw Jurassic Park as a spy thriller franchise, so for them to kind of go that approach in a couple of scenes really doesn't really kind of work. There's even a scene where you can definitely tell they took it right out of the Bourne Ultimatum, with them jumping off rooftops and things like that and landing into porches. So yeah, the tone is a little all over the place in this movie. Really kind of wish they settled on maybe just one or two genres instead of 6 or 7 or 8 of them. So unfortunately, as far as consistent tone goes, the tone is a little all over the place in this movie. And for the most part, this film is pretty predictable. You really kind of know exactly where the film is going after a while. There really is no surprises here, unfortunately. Though it was cool seeing the old and the new Jurassic Park characters team up with each other, like Owen Grady with Sam Neill and things like that. They're not together long enough. They're not together enough where it was a fulfilling experience of the old and the new Jurassic Park characters teaming up for something. It really is not until the third act where that really happens. So I thought that aspect of the film was disappointing because the marketing really pushes that, and I'm not one of those people either where the marketing pushes something that happens like at the very end of the movie. So I thought that aspect of the film could have been improved upon. And for the most part, we have another lame villain here. I know Jurassic World, the fourth film, had Vincent D'Onofrio was that military guy, and the fifth film had, the people in the mansion trying to contain the dinosaurs and the whole contain thriller thing and the Indoraptor. And unfortunately, this film does have another lame villain. It does have this CEO that's clearly trying to be something that you would see at like Apple or Microsoft running this biosyn place. Lame villain, didn't buy into it very much. Didn't seem very threatening either, to be honest. Just kind of the guy that's barking orders at people so the locust conspiracy thing doesn't fall on the biosyn company. So I thought the villain overall here was pretty kind of lame. I also thought more time could have been spent depicting dinosaurs in the real world. The film spends so much time setting us up for this that they really don't spend a lot of time with the whole how people in the real world are depicting how they get to work and do stuff and coexist with the dinosaurs. They really kind of only briefly cover that in this movie. So I thought that's something that they could have covered a little bit more over the course of this film. And then overall, I thought they could have depicted how the Earth's ecosystem was going bad in a different way. When I think of Jurassic Park, I don't think of mutant locusts and things that could, ruin the Earth like that. I think more, I think more dinosaurs. I think, dinosaurs and this theme park where dinosaurs exist and things like that. I really don't think of this whole plot of mutant locusts roaming the Earth and things like that. So I thought that aspect of the film, though I like the idea of the Earth's ecosystem going bad with the dinosaurs roaming free, I thought they could have handled that better and made it more of a Jurassic Park friendly kind of a story based on that premise alone. But overall, I'm going to give Jurassic World Dominion a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's an okay film. I think there's things about it that are really good. But like I said, the tone is just all over the place. It's predictable. There's a lame villain here again. The old and the new Jurassic Park characters don't have a lot of time to work together with each other. More time could have been depicting the dinosaurs in the real world, and I think a different story involving the ecosystem going bad would have benefited this film. Not so much mutant locusts. So 7.5 out of 10. It's an okay film. It is a step up from Fallen Kingdom, but we have a long way to go as far as comparing it to the first Jurassic Park film went. So 7.5 out of 10. If you really, really like Jurassic Park, I think it's worth checking out just so you know how the story wraps up of the Jurassic Park franchise. But if you're just a casual fan, if you're just kind of wondering what the next big good movie is out there, this movie isn't it. I think you can wait till streaming or to rent it to see this one. Not a terrible film, but not a great film. 7.5 out of 10. See it with caution if you decide to see Jurassic World Dominion.